Let the bass kick.
When we first started this, I did not like that music.
Hey, what up, what up, what up? Well, full disclosure, on a Monday, I guess.
Yeah.
Jay does
Well, I was
not
gonna say,
like
I've
the MCDG
really grown to
podcast
love
theme
it.
music.
Yeah. No, in the beginning.
It's kind of our thing,
It was
you know?
just, oh, I know. But in the beginning, it was a little bit different for me. But
It is
I've really,
different.
really grown to like it.
Yeah. What up, everybody?
Hey, what's up?
Welcome back. welcome back to the show, episode 84
Wow.
of the MCDG podcast. We're getting up there, pushing 100. I think we might have to have Zach Melton back on episode 100 since he was the first person that was on the show.
We need to give away something.
Yeah,
I
we
think.
definitely will give away something.
We need to get some, like, custom disc or something with our faces or
Yeah.
the logo or something.
Totally do.
We got a lot of logos, so
Totally do.
let us know what you guys think. In the
Yep.
comments somewhere section, wherever you're watching or listening, rather.
Wow, this is weird. Everything's all
Uh-oh.
mirrored.
Uh-oh.
What's up, guys?
In the light of full disclosure, though, everything has gone awry this evening. So,
Yeah.
what's one more thing?
We're starting a little late tonight, and I'm going to have to apologize to our guest because we had some technical difficulties. Once again, go figure. Shocker! Who would have guessed technical difficulties on the MCDG podcast? It is Monday, June 8th, and we've got... What's up?
Nothing. I was just commending you on getting the date.
Oh, yeah, I nailed it. Yeah, nailed the date. Maybe it's not off to such a bad start. Man,
Perhaps.
calm down.
Yeah.
We needed the gong. We don't have a
Woo-saw.
gong anymore. Yeah.
Woo-saw.
We need that gong back. How do I sound, everybody? I don't have my mic turned around fully opposite backwards away from me tonight.
Yep.
So that's probably a good thing.
As an Easter egg about the podcast.
Yeah.
Last podcast.
Last episode, did the whole thing and then shut it down and realized that I'd been talking into the back of the microphone the whole time. So that's why I sounded like junk. Anyhizer, we got a good show in store for you tonight, as we always do. We had a big weekend, man.
Super huge.
We had a big weekend. We are going to get into all sorts of cool stuff about weekend updates and whatnot. And we got an awesome guest that we're going to be bringing onto the show tonight.
Been around a while.
Yeah, our friend Chris Pierce from Eat Sleep Disc in Birmingham, Alabama. And so this is going to be pretty awesome. Yep, Jeff, I got the mic turned around the right way this time. Thanks, John.
It's always a bonus.
Yeah. Thank you guys for those of you that are tuning in live. We're going to go ahead and get right into the weekly I could break it down. Break it down. Let me find the right note. Weekly breakdown episode. Wow, this is definitely not episode 79, but the
No.
info is right. So,
Man, we are just... Bear with us as we get through these first initial steps.
starting on Saturday, we do have the Saturday doubles in the afternoon, 2 o'clock with John Williams at Seven Oaks.
Yeah.
And shocker, Blue got him an ace.
Did he?
Yes,
Another
he
one.
sure did.
How many was it? 12?
He hit
13?
hole 7 for, I believe, what was, got the $194. I have it down here. Yep, $195. So he got him some money. Let's give him some golf snaps on that one.
Couldn't have happened to a better gentleman.
That's my boy, Blue.
That's right.
Yep, we love you, Blue. So congratulations to Rodney Goad for smashing that ace at Saturday doubles at Seven Oaks. And the backup with their back two for this week is going to be $50 in the ace pot. So get you some money. Get you a little bit of money.
It's a smidge.
Sunday, we also have Seven Oaks singles with Q-Tip. And coming up this coming week, I believe that's still should be around a $200 ace pot. Then we also are bringing back King Ridge doubles.
All right.
Yeah, so this weekend we do have some work days going on, but just in time for you to go out and play some golf in the afternoon.
But if you got some time,
Yeah, earn your tree karma, come out and help us work, and then go play golf, and you'll get many birdies, and that's how it works.
in theory.
In actuality, that's how it works. So, you guys like my fresh lid? Eat Sleep Disc, baby.
I feel like
Every
I've seen
single
it
day.
before.
Monday night, we got Squamchers Ferry doubles. Those guys are out there battling it out right now. $240 on the line in the ace pot. So get you some money.
Whoa.
Also, we got Sharp Springs doubles going on Tuesday nights. Or Monday nights. Sorry. Sharp Springs doubles, random draw, $10 all in, 445 signups, I think. Don't know what the ace pot is. Tuesday, we've got Seven Oaks doubles at 5 o'clock with David Griffin. And don't have an update on the ace pot there. I think it's around $200. Get you some money. Tuesday night, we also got Triple Creek doubles, 250 ace pot. Get you some money. 5 o'clock round also. Wednesday night, the Wednesday night tag extravaganza has made its triumphant return this week, last week, and it was a good turnout. I think we had somewhere between 20 and 30 people.
Ooh, nice.
Ran them out as soon as they got there and went really smooth. And now we've got the UDisc Leagues beta, so totally like live digital scoring, which we tested out with the bag tag this week.
Yeah.
And then also on Wednesday night, we got Cedar Hill random draw doubles, and that's a 5 o'clock round as well. Not sure what the ace pot's up to, but they got an ace pot. Henry Horton State Park, Duck River Disc Golf hosting random draw doubles on Wednesday nights. They've got 3 bounties out there worth 4 bounties now worth $268 a piece, and then hole 12 is at $330 through donations. Thursday night, we've got White House doubles. We got some big news about White House to talk about tonight too, but that's a $300 ace pot at White House doubles. Yeah. So could get you some money. 5 o'clock, White House Park with Lance Kirby and company. And yeah, that's your weekly breakdown, folks.
Will broke it, not me.
I broke it. It has been broken.
Uh-oh.
So, yes. How's your week been, Jay?
It has been long, tiring.
Yeah.
This weekend was hot, and so, just one of those weeks. But disc golf was played, and I haven't done that in a long time. So I was just about to say something to you about. Sorry, guys. Let me get a little closer to the mic so you can actually hear me. I was actually going to say something to you about all the events from the weeklies. Are we all back in swing? Are they all fully functional?
I believe so. The only thing that I don't have a current update on, and I'm assuming is really not happening right now, is the shuffle on Saturdays. Because I know Zach has just been incredibly busy doing side work and all of that stuff. So I haven't heard a new update on the shuffle going on at Two Rivers. But there's been a lot of other stuff going on. One thing I didn't mention, we do have the Two Rivers bag tags going on Friday evenings right now. And that, of course, is there to raise money to help finish the park. So the renovations we've been doing on the course.
A lot of things going on courses right now.
Yeah.
So if you've got some time or some skills, if you know a little bit about putting some bridges together or making some squares, something, anything, come out and help us.
Yep.
We got work parties all weekend coming up. You want to tell them? Well, you've got all the information on it.
Well, we've already made our guest wait for a few minutes, so I'm going to start working on getting him on the show.
Alrighty.
Fill me in on Adeline's doctor's appointment, because I know you had a little splash pad, little adventure with her today.
Oh, just 18-month checkup. No shots, so that's good. No screaming child. Everything was good, healthy, teeth coming in all at once apparently, so that kind of makes it fun for her and us. But other than that, I know she enjoyed seeing you or on the camera the other day when she saw you. She gets all excited now when she sees people she recognizes on the phone or FaceTime.
Jay, whatever everybody may say about you, whatever everybody says about you.
Whoa, hold on 1 second.
All that irregardless, you make a pretty baby. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I was going to say I have a reputation to maintain, so don't be telling anything nice about me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Everybody knows the Jay Skinner story. All right.
Yes, I hope not.
Chris Pierce, if you may be watching, I'm sending you a link to the Zoom meeting as we speak.
Come on. Are we doing Facebook today too?
Yep, we are live on Facebook.
Oh, hello, Facebook world.
Chris Pierce is in. Jeremy Latanzi, Jeff Casalina.
Jeff. We need to get Jeff back on. He hasn't been on in a while.
Yeah, I was just talking to him the other day. He's been working a lot too.
It's nice to hear that people are actually working.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear that now.
He's been pulling extra work at UPS. I don't know if that's a regular thing or just a current state of affairs kind of thing.
It's a good side gig for sure.
Did I hear a click? Chris, do we have you?
I can hear you and see you.
I can hear
we can
you,
hear
but
you.
I cannot see you.
I guess I need to give some camera permissions here, maybe. There we
Turn
go.
him down in my headset if you can. There we go.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Howdy.
How you doing, man?
How are you? Good.
Good.
I see. Jay is there, I assume.
Jay is here.
Can you see me?
Yes, we only have one
Hello?
camera in the Zoom meeting, but while you cannot see Jay, he is directly opposite me.
Or am I?
Everybody else can see him. You can see him if you look at the Facebook feed.
There you go.
I don't know how to put two cameras in Zoom. I don't
Somebody
know if
tell
that's possible.
us if it is possible. Oh,
You live and you learn.
Yeah,
You know?
we'll figure it out one day.
You guys are. I'm so proud of you, dude. This thing is awesome.
Man,
I tune in, I watch, and I think it's a really cool thing. We're in Birmingham. You know, we're kind of 10 years behind the time, so I'll eventually bring it here.
well, that's nice to hear because we used to think nobody listened.
yeah, I mean, and
There
honestly,
was a time.
it was like a rude awakening when we realized people were. Because
Yeah,
I was
I was
just
like,
saying,
oh,
I was just
no.
freewheeling, saying whatever, and everything's going to be fine.
We gotta tone this back a little.
And then woke up one morning to a bunch of text messages. Dude, they were talking about you on Smashbox.
Were you up at Tennessee States this weekend at all, or did you make it up there?
I was not. We had a very busy week this past week. Greg Barsby was in town. He was making his way down to city of Mobile, but then they ended up getting rained out.
Ooh.
He ended up dropping from that tournament. So he hung out, and cool thing was he got to hang out with us for a couple days. And
I'm sure that
we
was
did a little
terrible.
pop-up tournament. It was terrible. And we got to hang out with him for a couple days. It was really. He's such a humble guy, such a really cool individual, and Casey as well, his female companion touring partner there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they ran a doubles up at Kudzu Cove in Gunnersville, and then they also did Civitan Park here in Trustville, which is a suburb of Birmingham.
Interesting to see the pros that have been around the South the past couple weeks.
Yeah, Madison and Calvin are here.
Mm-hmm.
And we heard a rumor a couple weeks ago that Eagle was up in Huntsville for a few weeks visiting another female companion.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been kind of pro central around the South here lately.
Man, it's been a long time since you and I got to talk and get some FaceTime. How the hell are you?
It's crazy times,
Yeah.
crazy times. So I feel like we're finally pulling up and out of that nosedive,
Goodness, I hope.
especially since I got that email the other day that Alabama was ready for sanctioning tournaments again. So, and then, Philip State and all those guys pulled it together down there in Mobile, and it went off. Even though they didn't get the best weather, that was, I was just glad to see a big tournament happening in the state. And then we have here in Birmingham, we got the Magic City Mega Bowl at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So that was good news for Ben. I'm sure he was relieved to see that.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. I talked to him a little bit when he was, and I fell off the updates on what it ended up being. Did he pull that through as an A tier, or did he follow through with that? I know he had made a post about stepping it down to a B tier.
Yeah, I believe it's a B just because since the restaurant industry took a huge hit, those were our main sponsors
Gotcha.
for that tournament. Were service industry, restaurants, bars. So they weren't as while they love us, they still got a business to run. So it's a little bit harder for Ben to do all the fundraising.
Yeah.
So he's doing everything he can for sure, but he didn't. It's better to over deliver and under promise. So I'm sure the money's still going to be there, but just the B tier was probably the safest thing for him to do. And I think it went from 3 days to 2 days as well. But it's already full. There's a few pro spots left if you pros want to get in on it, master spots and MPO. But I believe all the AM spots are already accounted for and filled up.
That's
Oh yeah, and the last that had to do with that was we're still having a little bit of residual COVID effects from the city of Birmingham. The surrounding communities are all pretty much open back up. So he had to pull George Ward from the rotation, and it is now going to be Clay.
man, that's a bummer.
See. It kind of is, kind of not. I mean, for the people that like the tough setup, man, it's going to be a brutal, tough layout. You got Inverness, Clay, and then the easiest course is going to be Civitan, which, you know, is not that easy. I believe Civitan's a great course, but, you know, it's going to be a test for sure.
Yeah.
I lost.
I can't imagine myself playing those all three in the same weekend in the heat.
Man, yeah, Inverness and George Ward. Because there's not, I mean, there's trees at George Ward, but they're not like.
I feel good. No, 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 no. I knew that I would. Will, you just gonna leave me hanging?
I knew that I would now.
All right, well, that's pretty good.
Did I skip a part? Hold on.
I don't know if
I'm
you're
trying to
doing it
figure
now,
this
but it
out.
was a lot better than mine.
Okay, I think we're back. Hey, and we're back.
There's the
There's the.
inaugural noise letting you know we're back.
Yep. Okay.
So, where were we?
Yeah, so
Barsby was hanging out.
we're at Magic City Mega Bowl. Ben's been having a hard time doing fundraising, all that stuff. And man, yeah, I'm totally right there with you because that was the conversation that I started with the PDGA back in the beginning of April. Was, you know, what are we going to do with the National Tour Series? I've got to start making some changes because my fundraising engine is completely seized, and I'm definitely not going to be able to raise $13,000 in added cash.
In a month or two time.
Yeah, and the original plan that I had talked to the board about was that we were going to potentially drop it down to a B tier, and that was before I had any idea what Ben was talking about doing. And through our conversations,
At least you're not going to do it
huh?
the way you're going to do it.
What? Who? What?
I said at least you're not doing it the way you had planned on doing it, but you got to,
Yeah.
you know, plan B. Kick.
Oh, we.
Well, it was all about because when I talked to Mike Downs, it was like, you know, what are we going to do because they were talking about making some changes to the tour standards for the rest of the year, and that could include mileage restrictions and minimum added cash, and that was what I was waiting to find out about before I really pulled the plug on it. Was, you know, can we afford to keep it an A tier because we've already got an A tier on the books. So, and then I had seen Ben made his post about dropping it down to a B tier, and I had reached out to him just to let him know that there was possibly some changes to the tour standards coming that might make him reconsider in some way. But I totally understand, man, and I know that's got to be a big hit for the Alabama altogether, but the Birmingham disc golf community, because that's your big show every year.
Like I said, it's still full.
Yeah.
So, I mean, minus a couple pro spots. So, I mean, I'm sure Ben and crew and community will, you know, all pitch in. It'll go off without a hitch like it always does.
Yeah.
But anybody that's drinking home when I say butter, take it. Dump.
Dump.
But yeah, it's crazy stuff we're living in, man.
Yeah.
So, like when I was coming back to Nashville, so that is a good question.
Yeah,
That's a
I
very
asked
good
that
question.
right as we were breaking. So that, yeah, if you didn't hear it, yeah, when are you coming back to Nashville?
Yeah, so we'd love to have you back. Obviously, we have you guys in town for Halloween at Dogwood every year, and that's something that we always look forward to. So,
Yeah, we're not going to miss that.
who would?
Always the best time.
I mean, I don't.
Always.
It is the one of the year that you're like, I'm going.
Yeah.
The day after it's
So what's
over.
ended up happening?
What?
Where are you guys at? Music City open.
So it's the A tier is still on the books, and as of right now, we've got I've got confirmation that it's still going to be a USDGC qualifier. I talked to Jonathan Poole, made sure that he was up to date on all of the most current information about the tournament, and so it's definitely still a USDGC qualifier. The two big things that were up in the air for us were Worlds and then of course what the Pro Tour was going to do, because at the very beginning of my conversation about all this with Mike Downs, it was he made it clear, you know, he's like Pro Worlds is looking at a possible reschedule in or in and around your time frame, and I told him, I was like, I'm not going to do anything or put up a fight about and end up standing in the way of the folks on the road being able to have a world championship or come back and make a little money and salvage something of the season. So I wasn't going to get defensive about the date in terms of worlds. And then I had heard that, you know, Jonesboro was looking at a reschedule possibly around the same time. And it's exactly what we all expected, is that as soon as the green light came on, everybody was going to be looking at the same dates. Everybody was going to be trying to reschedule all at once. And it was going to be a big circus.
Even worse than trying to plan in general.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, gotta get my date.
Well,
So, still September?
Yeah, September 25th through the 27th, last weekend of September. Everything, all the date and all that stuff has stayed the same. The registration page is still the same on Disc Golf Scene, but we've changed formats. So
and courses.
The course at Mill Ridge is still going to be under development. We're going to take that extra time to really perfect it and test it out some more and make tweaks and stuff like that. Hopefully get it in the ground permanently before the tournament. But we're going to take the pros and put them on a new layout at Cedar Hill, and they'll play there for 3 days. Our cap goes up to 600 players, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
We could potentially get up to 600 players. That would be awesome. And the other cool thing is that just to create an opportunity for everybody in the AM and age protected divisions to go and watch the pros play, we had kind of scheduled 2 rounds with shotgun starts on one day, and so that they would be able to get their 3 rounds in. But
that would free them up for
for Sunday
or travel to get back home.
Right, but since we're not at this point, for all we know, we're not going to be able to have spectators at all. So we went ahead and moved everybody back to 1 round a day with tee times. We got 1 round going on at the short course at Cane Ridge this time around. So E-Pool will play 1 round there on their last day. So yeah, we've got 6 pools in rotation, or 6 courses in rotation, and MPO and FPO will just become A-Pool and play at Cedar Hill for 3 days.
Yeah.
So
Cedar Hill, if you haven't been there in a while, Cedar Hill has gotten a revamp.
yeah.
And sometimes when you change courses, it's not always for the better, but I don't know how you made Cedar Hill better, but they did.
Just a couple really awesome new pin positions and stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Beautiful
9 and
shots.
18 that's this kind of iconic pro level.
Well, I think it turned 18 into an iconic hole. It was always a great hole, but with the pushback of it and the movement left, it's definitely an iconic hole now, I think.
Yeah.
People will remember that one. What, bud?
The guys that do work days out there.
Yeah, Billy Fowler and crew.
Yep.
My heroes.
Yeah,
I come out there, and then I see, like freshly planted grass seed, in the fairways, and it's just, man, it makes the experience so much better, especially for guys that come from out of town. It's just, they do a top-notch job. Thank those guys, for real. It's impressive.
They are in a class of their own for sure. What's really crazy though is me and Coop were on the same card at the bag tag, and we were walking up hole 11, and I was like, "Get off the grass seeds, man! They built this whole walkway with gravel to the right, so you can walk on it." And that's been the biggest issue with when you were talking about the grass seed when they put it down, is they built that gravel path on 11 and 13, or 11 and 12, to the right, so that the grass could grow, and nobody uses the gravel path really.
Yeah.
We're doing a adopt a hole program. I'm piloting the program for the Disc Golf Birmingham Club.
Okay.
So we're towards some things like that. Get the volunteerism going, and basically, even if it's just people picking up trash, it's going to work.
Sure.
But what I'm hoping is we'll basically become a steward of the hole, your chosen hole, and with some things like that.
Be sure to provide
nice walking path.
Be sure to provide
flowers. I mean, just yeah.
No, I think it's awesome. And I was just going to say, be sure to provide those volunteers with some guidelines if they adopt a hole. Some of them might get a little carried away. Like, oh, that tree was in the way.
Yeah.
Right.
I adopted the hole. It's my hole, right? I do what I want with it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got a comment from I'm probably going to butcher his last name, but John Favish in the chat, and he's mentioning Jonesboro being the weekend after us, and that'll also help us probably get some people here because people will be moving that direction.
Not too far of a hop and a jump.
Yeah.
Jonesboro
So
there.
some of the people that are watching or listening, whatever you may be doing, are probably familiar with you guys and what you do, and probably have seen you here in town because we've done some things with you throughout the year for the last several years. We're a little overdue on one for 2020. But tell everybody, let's get right to the beginning, man. Tell us your story with disc golf. How were you introduced to it? How did you catch the bug? How did all that happen for you? And
Oh man.
brief Cliff
Okay.
Notes version.
Well,
Yep.
yeah. So I've always played frisbee. I was probably one of the only kids in my high school that had actual whammos on his wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was always enamored with frisbee. I played ultimate in college, and then a buddy of mine named Noodle. His name was Noodle. I mean, his real name was Greg Bosley, but he's like, man, you need to come play disc golf. And we were both on the ultimate team there at Oklahoma together. And I was resistant. I was honestly resistant. I was like, man, it just doesn't sound like it's going to be fun. You know, it sounds kind of weird. And he dragged me out there, and of course, you know, I was hooked ever since. So, long story short, that was probably in '97, and then got my PDJ number finally in '04. I probably should have got it in '90 because I was playing that much, but I was still committed to ultimate, and my body was still skinny, and I was running, looked, I was fantastic. Now I'm old.
Those
But-
knees don't run like they used to.
ended up finally succumbing, like realizing I was like, disc golf is the sport of my future. So in '04, I got my PJ number, and 2 years later, started Eat Sleep Disc in '06. Probably just because I didn't know enough people to help them out with their thing. I just figured I was going to do my own thing, which, you know, through the School of Hard Knocks, it's a good thing. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good. Sometimes you rub people the wrong way when you try to do your own thing. But I knew I was in it to win it from the beginning, and you know, just the test of time tells that.
Sure.
You know, I see a lot. I've been around enough where I see people get involved, and then 2 years later they're
Oh,
gone.
I mean, I think if
I've been doing.
you've been in disc golf at
Yeah.
all within it, you know, involved within it with 2 or 3 years, you watch them come and go, and you've had some staying power. You got any thoughts to why that is?
Just the passion. The passion's there, man. I mean, I love it with all my heart. I love the people. I love the family. I mean, everywhere I literally say this all the time. I could pick up and move anywhere in the country and have a family.
That's
That's
true.
why I feel so at home in Nashville whenever I come there. I've met so many people there, Will, Alpo, I mean, Ed, Birdie, and Kim, and, you know, you just have family everywhere you go. I never feel alone. You know what I mean?
That's
You always love it.
a great feeling.
Yeah, we hit it off right away, man. I've known you for a few years now, and it's one of those things. I mean, I guess that happens outside of disc golf too, but it was like
Sure.
one of those connections. You know, we did an event together the first time I met you and Jeff, and it was like, yep, I'm gonna be rocking it with these guys for the rest of my life. This is family right here.
I did and come on, but he was feeling a little under the weather tonight, so he apologizes, but he says, what's up?
Yeah, no
Who
doubt.
is it? Jeff?
Jeff, yeah.
Oh, Jeffy Pooh.
They've got
Tell-
their wedding coming up.
Jim-
Jeff is getting married. Jeff and Tabitha are getting married here
What?
soon. Yeah. I think that's probably...
I can't believe she puts up with him.
Yeah, I know, right? It's on the 20th. I think we're going to be at Seven Oaks Summer Solstice for that, like during when that happens.
Nice.
So bad for him because, you know, they had already planned it out, and then this whole COVID thing hit, and it's just poor kids. I mean, trying to have a wedding in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're coping, and they're going to do a little virtual ceremony
Well, that's
and all that. So.
a neat way of handling it.
Yeah.
I only say this because I'm getting married in October, and we're so far we feel safe, like we won't have to mess with any of it, but we're at the same time we're definitely trying to prepare for what happens if we do.
Yeah.
So, and that's like what, a week after the MCO.
Yep.
So I'm kind of thankful it's not as much pressure as the NT this year.
Yeah.
I don't
Try
know.
to go into NT, my own wedding. May come out of that with some gray hair, for sure.
No stress there at
No,
all.
no.
Or start out your marriage in the doghouse.
The best part about it, and Will can attest to this, I was straight up front with my fiance when we first got together. Like, look, this time of the year, I'm gone for 3 months at a time. Like, just basically from like July, August, September, I'm not going to be around, and that's just every year.
Well,
And it's the truth.
that's hey, be honest and be real. I mean, I was the same way with my wife. I let her, we had a little cake at our wedding, which we got married in. It was 2010. We got married, and no, way 2003. Sorry,
You better be real careful, bud.
2000, and it said Chris and Carrie links forever, and it had a disc golf basket on it. If you don't know that the guy's serious about disc golf, then you don't know what you're doing.
How did she feel about that then?
The same way she does today. My wife is a saint. Thank you, Carrie. I love you, Carrie. She knows I need my outlets and my releases, and she knows I wouldn't be right if I didn't get out and.
The real MVPs are widows, the disc golf widows.
Yes. But I'm with him. They got to know that you have to have your thing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that's a big part of it. And I think that's why
Well,
a
it's
lot
all
of
give
us,
and take. You know what I mean? You gotta.
I think that's why we all feel like family. And I bet if we went through all the podcasts and the word family and community that were used throughout all of ours, it would be probably a dominant word because we talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
And no other bond like a disc golfer's bond. That's for sure.
Yeah. So when you started Eat Sleep Disc, and this was back in 2006, so you've been around for a while. What was the main motivation? Did you just want to be a retailer? Did you want to? Because you do a lot of things now. You run a lot of really cool events. You're involved with putting in courses and all that stuff. You're like a one-stop shop for disc golf. So.
Yeah.
What was the starting motivation? What was the thing that pulled you into trying to get into the industry of disc golf?
I'm not really sure. I think I fell in love with the tournament atmosphere, and I'm a behind the scenes guy. I like to know what goes into things, and so some of my mentors were the people that were running the tournaments, at the time, like Wayne Forrest in Tulsa. He was running the state championships. Mike Flick was a guy who ran a Oklahoma City Okie doubles tournament. So I was getting in and being friends with these guys, and so I got to kind of see them behind the scenes, running these bigger events that brought all these people together, and everybody had a great time. So I was like, man, I want to be a part of that, So I figured the way to do it was to have a company that we could, obviously turn our logo merchandise, but also run events. And, because that, to me, the end goal is like what we talked about earlier, bringing the people together, everybody having a great time, making people's Frisbee dreams come true. I mean, one of the biggest satisfactions to me right now is when somebody's looking for a disc and I'm able to give them a local hookup because they can't find it online, and I put it in their hands, and they're just like, yes, you know what I mean? It just makes me feel fantastic when we make those connections.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a process itself,
Yeah, that was the thing for me. Nothing had ever. It was like chasing that dragon. It was like the first time you threw a disc and it flew the way you meant for it to. The feeling of elation and euphoria that you got from that, and nothing ever came close to that until the first time I ran a tournament, and I got to sit behind the table and look out and see all the people out there having a good time, participating in this thing that we all love and that brings us all together, and know that I facilitated the coming together of that. That was the only thing that ever came close to that excitement, and that's what keeps me running tournaments now too.
Well, I left out a kind of a big detail during that time period. It was a long time ago. This was like 2005 to 2007, when we started this whole thing. But when I worked at the University of Oklahoma there, we had memberships to the basketball, or the rec center or whatever. So I was playing basketball and I tore my ACL in half. And that was right when I was getting into, I just got my PDJ number and everything. And so we had the community there. And then I couldn't play because of my knee. And another way for me to get involved was to take my TD test and run a tournament. So the first tournament I ever ran was the Norman Pro-Am in 2005. And just because I was, on the DL, the disabled list, but it still turned out to be a fun time. And I guess that was probably the main thing. And my buddy Danny Stacy used to be sponsored by Discraft, and he's the one that kind of ushered me and nudged me to go ahead and get that TD test, and it was pretty much on from that point.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've always encouraged everybody to do, just as PDGA members. Like, I think, for one thing, it helps the overall field if there are more people that are certified officials out there in general. Yeah. But also, I mean, you can study the rule book if you choose to and think you have a good grasp on it. But the way that the questions that are asked, the way that they're framed and posed in the test, it really makes you think about them in alternative, like real life application type ways. And a lot of people criticize the process because you can take the test as many times as you want until you pass it. Yeah. But it's like, dude, I'll be honest with you. Just about every time that I've taken the test, I'm pretty sure I've gotten at least one or two wrong on the first try, and then it's like, because you zero in on that rule and your understanding of it based on situations that you found yourself in already, that where it applies, but you've never, you know what I mean? So it's just a new angle of thinking of it, and that's how you have to learn that stuff if you're going to be a tournament director.
Oh yeah, you're not going to know it all. Yeah. You're walking to that first tournament that you ran or I ran or that you ran over there. You don't know near what you know now about running tournaments, and like you were talking about those questions and the way they're worded is sometimes set up for you to give an answer while there's a rule that basically supersedes that whole statement that they made. Like, for instance, just kind of an example with you don't have 2 minutes if your disc is OB because it's technically not lost. It's OB. Yeah. And so you don't get 2 minutes to go look for it. Yep. And like I was like, wow, I never would have thought about that rule being that way.
Or what do you do if you need to call a lightning delay in the middle of
you do. You get in a Honda Fit and you go down.
And you just let everybody laugh at the sound of your horn.
Yeah. Yep. It was pretty good. It got the job done, Nobody got struck.
And it's hard to be mad that there's a lightning delay getting called when the sound that's alerting you to the lightning delay is
yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. First responder. That's all. No big deal.
Yeah. Chris, I know that a big part of your marketing platform and why you've been so successful is because of the iconic imagery. Yeah, that you've used to push Eat Sleep Disc out there. I knew of Eat Sleep Disc way before you and I ever met, probably not long after I started playing disc golf, just because, when you start Googling disc golf, that logo is one that pops up all over the place.
Probably because we're the most copied
logo. Yeah, that's also very true.
It is a simple one, and because of that reason, it does get copied. I did my due diligence. When we first started, it was actually called Solstice Disc Sports because my birthday is the 21st of December, which is the winter solstice, and I just thought it was a cool name, Solstice Disc Sports, and I called it Disc Sports because I played Ultimate, and I played DCC, I played all the different things, and I love the all-around aspect of it. But anyway, nobody could pronounce Solstice for the life of them. Solstice, I mean, they're trying to read it off the sponsored thing, and they can't pronounce it. So, but from the beginning, the website was always eatsleepdisc.com. And so, obviously, when I was getting that website, I did my due diligence. I did the research. I Googled the crap out of it, and I couldn't find anything, at that time. But shortly after that, once we were online and promoting our brand, here it came. I mean, the little Zazzle T-shirt. It's mostly these T-shirt companies where people kind of upload their own logo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, nowadays they got the crickets they can make them with. Send
Yeah.
them out to you on Etsy.
Anybody can make a vinyl T-shirt.
Yeah.
On one hand, it's great advertising when they're like, "Hey, check out my Eat Sleep Dish decal that I made."
Yeah.
It's like we're getting free advertisement at that point.
They
But
think it's just a philosophy. It's
same-
not actually
Yeah,
a
it's
company.
not. Gotta send those cease and
But,
desist letters, bro.
we had those things like constantly. People were tagging me. They're like, "Hey, man, this guy's trying to rip you off," or things like that. And so this past a couple years ago, we actually filed for trademark with the U.S. Patent Office, and it's actually legal now. I have a document
Awesome.
that says Eat Sleep Disc. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's pretty
So-
sweet.
So how many years is that of being in an operation before you got the trademark?
I think it was a year before last, so like 2018. Yeah, so 2006 to 2018.
Wow.
Nice.
Just because my aspirations of it are, and we've always used it in commerce business type,
Sure.
but we've never been like a full-fledged,
Well, you never know where you're gonna go
Uh,
either. You start off small.
you know what I mean? I don't do this full time, but in the effort to go full time, I wanted to be sure that all my legal ducks were in a row.
Sure.
If we decide to as a brand and put it in stores, then at that point, if I'm starting to invest that much money in it and get it out there, then I would protect it a little bit and maybe have to send a couple letters to some folks.
Sure.
Don't want to, but,
Well,
if you're not going to do due diligence, then
I was gonna say you may not want to,
deserve
but
it.
they certainly seem to want a copy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Fair is fair, in that world, in my opinion. Like if you've got a business thing that makes you money, it's not fair if somebody else will steal it. It's just, it should be a respect thing, but I guess not always works out that way.
I mean, with something like the Eat Sleep Disc logo, though, it almost seems like it would be pretty possible for people to use it without realizing that they're infringing on a copyright or you know what I mean, like,
Uh-oh.
because it seems,
I lost your audio, I think, Will.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
You're freezing up on me, Chris.
No.
Oh, great. And our internet connection is unstable.
Ours?
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. There we go.
Hey, there we go.
I hear.
I hear you.
I hear
There we go.
There he is.
But yeah, I was just saying that, Eat Sleep Disc, somebody might share that, save it, and copy and paste it onto something and never know that they're infringing on another business's livelihood. I mean, it like I said, it's not just a philosophy, it's a company too, but like,
Sure.
have you had to deal with a lot of that, just confusion, or, I mean, because I know your logo was so iconic that I was like, oh man, yeah, absolutely, Eat Sleep Disc. I had no idea you were selling Frisbees.
At first, I was kind of militant about it, and I sent some people some PMs. If I saw it on social media, or I'd send them an email if I saw it on their website. But then I've definitely kind of relaxed off of it, which it's not a. They say in order to defend it, you have to, or in order to enforce it, you have to defend it basically every time you see it. So I kind of took a back seat to it just because I didn't want to be miserable. Because literally, the instances of the copy, people tagging me, and the number of times I saw it was just kind of getting ridiculous. And so I ended up being kind of mad all the time. And that's when I decided to take the initiative to go ahead and trademark it, spend the money, and get it done.
I was gonna say they make interns
So-
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
right.
go grab you one at the college and be like, hey, I got a business. If you want to intern, I got some work for you. A little bit of college cred, and you're a little bit of stress off of you.
So when did you meet Jeff? How did Jeff become a part of the operation?
Jeff moved to Birmingham around 2010-ish, 2011. No, maybe later than that. 12, probably around 12. It was right when Josh was still with us. Yeah. And he's just, I don't know, a little super energetic leprechaun man.
That's an understatement.
He is a little leprechaun.
Yeah.
And a lot of energy.
He's funny. He doesn't ever stop. So, and he was just as bit by, and the way it actually started was he was going to start his own thing. Him and a buddy of his, and he told me about it because we were friends. He's like, man, I think we're going to start our thing, start doing some things. I was like, well, why don't you? And it was a time where I was kind of just overwhelmed with everything. You know, I do have a full-time job, and it can be a lot trying to do side projects when you got family and work and all that stuff going on too. So I needed somebody to split the duties with. So when he was talking about running his own thing, I was like, well, hey, buddy, how about we go into business together? And he was like, it blew him away. Like, really? Like, you know, because I guess he thought the world of me at that point. And he said yes, and we started knocking it out of the park, you know, doing stuff right then.
So how many years now has this?
You said 08? You said
08?
That was about 8 years now.
Wow. It's a long history.
It goes by a lot faster than you think. Because I've heard of you guys since almost as long as I've been playing, I would say, and known you guys for half of that, but I had no idea y'all had been around that long.
That's a hard thing.
My goal.
Go for it, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you're fine. My goal is to do it full time, honestly, and that's what I've been working towards. Doing it, and it happens easier for some people, that have less family obligations. But I mean, I don't know if many people know, but I've got 3 kids and a lovely wife at the house,
Sure.
So I can't just make the jump immediately. But it is something that I'm passionate about, and I put a lot of midnight hours in, burning the candle to make it work sometimes. And the most exciting thing about this pandemic has been all the players that have been involved in disc golf. Every course we've been to here lately has just been covered up with new players. I feel like, as a whole, is just kind of turned a corner with the explosion of the numbers. So it might be time to really look at, putting some serious money into it and getting a plan together and rolling with it.
We kind of fall into this weird state right now because we have all of our own media, and we've been doing that and kind of going that way towards for the past few years with Chomez and Central Coast and all these guys. And then this would have been the perfect time to have disc golf on ESPN. It's had so many just, non-mainstream sports. Recently on there, like rock climbing, spike ball's been on there.
Well, yeah, if you want to watch sports, you're pretty much limited to Korean baseball And
at the moment, we kind of have probably not kept ourselves out of that, but because we've been doing all of our own, the production style stuff, we may not be being able to get in there right now because of that.
A lot of the pros have stepped up and, started doing the content thing since they haven't been able to play very many tournaments.
I tell you, shout out to Chris Dickerson, by the way, for that, because I think he's really taken a hold of it recently, and he previously hadn't done a whole lot at all. So it's good to see him.
All across the board, you see Simon Lazat's YouTube channel went crazy. He's been doing a whole lot of new content. And then
Dynamic Disc has been pumping a bunch out.
Bunch of new stuff from Dynamic Disc. The Disc Golf Pro Tour did the virtual putting league. There were like 5 different virtual putting leagues.
You did the course thing?
Yeah. And then, then Paige Pierce put together the Avocado Open. And her and Steve Rico and Philo and Nate Perkins were out in Duluth, it was really weird to see that because my family has a gourd ranch, a gourd farm in Duluth, Fallbrook, California area. So it was like watching all this. It was like something from the family farm, but that was like she put together sponsors for all that, so there was payout to the winner. And they filmed the whole thing together. And then farmed out the graphics, I think, but the post production was super clean. And that's the biggest impact, I think, well, the two biggest things is that one, all of a sudden, everybody in the world is looking for a cheap, fun reason to get outside.
Sure.
And two, everybody's got to do everything digitally and online. So now you've got all kinds of people starting to figure out how to make their own video content, how to make their own.
I mean, just for example, when you're faced with that evolution, like Sean, like hadn't had online for years, and now he's got that online front. And if he keeps it after this is all over, it'll be a strong thing for him too, the online sales. But what was great to see, and kind of to your point and to his, was how the disc golfers all backed each other up. Basically, you saw people who were working and could spend a little money. You saw those guys trying to pump some money into some of the guys who were struggling.
Yeah.
And so, like you were talking about earlier, running tournaments with all of this going on, there's a huge sigh of relief around the country for sure, with all of this starting to finally open back up.
So
yeah, I felt really good for the guys that are dedicated enough to make it their full-time gig, that don't necessarily have the sponsorships. Nate Sexton's going to be all right, Paul's going to be all right, but some of these other guys that going out on tour for the first time and then this hit, you're like, golly, man.
Well,
So,
yeah, trying to make a name for yourself, like being the grinder, and I can't even imagine.
yeah,
It's got to be heartbreaking for those guys.
yeah, you're being told by the government that you are not allowed to do your job.
Basically.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was just going to ask you.
Good luck.
Go for it.
File up for pro disc golfer.
What?
Right.
Unemployed.
Unemployed pro disc golfer.
I
Which
mean,
story
you
of
get
our lives, right?
maybe.
I wonder if they
works.
could qualify for unemployment. That's an interesting.
I bet some of the ones
They
who
pay
maybe
taxes.
like contractually, like I forget what the word they use, like basically like a ambassador contractually stated.
Yeah.
So they may be able to like consider an employee, but a lot of those guys are subcontractors,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, big businesses aren't required to do anything good for those guys. So, but the disc golf community has definitely not done that. Just outside of that.
So we talked a little bit about the Magic City Mega Bowl and how Birmingham is operating with the like a reopening, but how is it looking for you guys in terms of, because I know you do a fair amount of both throughout the year, like you go and vend at different events, but you also host events and run your own events. So now that everything is kind of starting to open back up, what are the next big projects on your plate? Are you just kind of trying to ride out the rest of the year with all the unknowns, or do you have a certain set of scheduled events that you want to be a part of and ones that you are for sure going to run? I know you guys do the Cooper Green every year, and now there's all kinds of stuff going on at Kudzu Cove. And
Well, I mean, you said you were full time too, right? Mm-hmm. So that's got to throw an extra.
No.
he works full time.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's got to throw an extra kink in the thing with trying to run or go to events and taking time off.
Yeah.
How do you manage it?
Luckily, I do get a lot of vacation times, so the bigger tournaments, I'm able to schedule it. Like we're going to Peoria to Ledgestone, and but I'm playing in that one. But we'll take our rig up there and try to sell some too. But we're really just in a holding pattern as far as tournaments go, running them. I'm still going to go around to the people we have relationships with, and we'll bend at the bigger events. And but as far as running them, Cooper Green's pretty much the only baby that I have that I want to keep going. And we weren't able to do it this year just because it's a massive undertaking doing it at a temp course. That adds a whole element of work and prep, especially because the park is not a manicured park. It's all year round. The city of Birmingham only bush hogs that thing twice a year. So we basically have to coordinate with them and do a lot of, even if they bush hog it, we still have to go out there and set it up like you would, like a Ravenwood or something like that.
I was gonna say, did we just become best
You're
friends?
telling the story of our lives.
Yeah, me and Will just sitting there smiling at each other.
Try not to
Ooh.
laugh. It's like, man, this all sounds really familiar.
hours.
course,
After that
jungle.
weekend,
Yeah, take care of it.
I take my cry, and then I start planning the next one.
Yeah, we do the same. We take a good little cry after it's all over, and
Yeah, but now we're at the point with Music City Open where we're already planning the next one.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, with this thrown in the works, I mean, you are still trying to run the area tier, Will and I, and then you're turning around at the back of your mind that NT still being next year.
Yeah.
So a lot of variables up there still, but there's a lot of thought process for sure.
Look for Cooper Green come back in 2021 in March,
Okay.
like it normally does. And other than that, yeah, we'll just be hitting up the bigger events in our area. Definitely Music City, Mega Bowl. We usually make a trip out to Bowling Green, but it all hit during the time. And I think, did they even have Bowling Green, or it got canceled? Didn't it?
I haven't heard confirmation one way or another what Doc was going to do with that. I think he was still looking for a reschedule date, the last that I had seen any official word, but I'm not.
Yeah.
That was a thing that threw me this year, was that HB was not involved in.
He was not. Yeah, they. I think he told us on the podcast that HB was no longer going to be doing the Amateur World Championships, and he was taking it, or the Amateur Bowling Green Amateur Championships, and he was taking it over.
Good.
So, but HB's still out there doing his thing. We had him on not long ago, and he's like you said, the passion. When you get like I feel like I'm gonna see you in 20, 30 years, and we're gonna be old men with dad jeans on, drinking Mick Ultras. Look, look at those guys.
Living the dream.
I know one thing that always seems to come up and is kind of a hard thing to put to rest, but I like for us here with Music City Disc Golf, this is a rare opportunity for us that we don't normally get, where we have a little bit of extra time to kind of focus and think about some things that we've had on our plate but hadn't had the time to really dive into. Yeah. And so, revisions to the bylaws and different things like that we've been talking about doing for the last 3 years, all of a sudden now, because
seem feasible.
Yeah, well, I mean, with our social distancing format for all the rest of our events this year, really they all run much simpler. It's been a crazy 2 months trying to get the machine started and get all of our ducks in a row. But now that we've gotten the first bag tag back out of the way,
sure.
and we're starting to, I think by the time we've gotten through 2 more events, we're going to be coasting through the rest of the year. So we're actually talking about, as a board, about making some further changes to playing catch up on some of the things that we've been putting off for a while.
Well, some of the things, just the way, there's lots of things that were just done for a smaller club that just need to be updated for a larger club.
The bylaws were written for a club with 50 to 100 people, and we're pushing 4.
I mean, we had 150 yesterday, and out at Cedar Hill, super hot, and it felt like the first bag tag of the year because we hadn't done one in so long.
Yeah.
And then with all the new introductions, you couldn't ask for a smoother day, and so.
How great was that to see 150 people?
Dude, it was great. And what the craziest part was, and I know you talked to 3 or 4 of them because I did as well, was those new guys. They've got, you were talking about that passion, that fever in the beginning of all of it, and they were just so stoked to be there and see how large the community is, and as a whole is even bigger. But seeing that at a tournament for a bag tag, I'm sure that opened their eyes.
Yeah. I mean, and it was one of those things for us too. It's like, well, it wasn't a fluke that we had over 180 people at the first event. This is obviously something that's going to continue, and we were like tee times and stuff like that were necessitated by the circumstances. Sure. But
ran smooth.
I mean, yeah, I'm saying, like, as we started to put it in, like, actually apply it, it was like, man, this is the direction that it's been going for a while now, because we've done, I was talking about this yesterday, we've done so much different stuff to try to accommodate more players. We split the pros and the AMs. We've mangled courses and added temp holes before. We've done ghost starts and 6 people on every card and all that stuff. And tee times, I mean, that's the next logical step, and
It has to be.
yeah, and just the way it ran yesterday was just it was testament to that. But I say all that because there's something that we always, well, not always, but we've talked about several times, and it was something that was near and dear to a lot of people in Alabama and in Tennessee and the South in general. But the event, and I was for some reason I'm about to say Holler in the Hills.
Boogie Bottoms.
Buggy Bottoms.
I was
Yeah.
literally
Boogie
we were like-
Bottoms.
we must have been mind melding because that was going to be the talk about that.
I know
next.
we've tossed the idea back and forth a couple times about. I mean, is there any thought to bringing that back? Any
say
kind of
that-
new ideas that you've got coming up in the future?
It's another one of those tournaments that's the labor of love kind of thing
Mhm.
because it's another course. Great times are always had there. I think it's a little expensive to rent the place, and that was probably the main hurdle.
Sure.
But PJ Aguirre and Condor Anthony Smith started that Team Catfish back in the day, and Ben Swam and Team One Time, Jeremiah Blackman and the Jasper guys, they picked it up where they left off, and it ended up just being kind of just too much, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Especially for all those guys are trying to do other things too throughout the year, and it just became to where that was their sole focus.
Yeah.
But I think enough people love that event that people want to see it come back. They definitely do because it was a huge success.
Yeah.
So there's some talk about bringing it back, and then there's also with the addition of kudzu. Now Frank Harbin and Jeff Cowan up there in kudzu in Gunnersville, Alabama. I don't know if the Tennessee people have seen it yet, but they are doing special things out there, and it's short. And they've already hosted a Eagle McMahon clinic. The Tina and Eric Oakley clinic had to be canceled, I think, due to COVID things and travel things. But and then Barsby came out there and he ran one. But Frank is continually putting money and real money into this course, and it is a special little place. And so I think the future of a Boogie Bottoms type tournament in Alabama is going to reside out there at Kudzu.
Okay.
Probably in the early spring, late winter, early spring, probably February time frame, because kind of like Boogie Bottoms, there's other events that go on there. And it's in Gunnersville, Alabama, which is like the bass fishing capital of the world,
Okay.
where they have, bass pro tournaments. And so all his little cabins that he has out there get filled up. So we're going to try to be a blessing to him and in his downtime and try to pack it with disc golfers. That's the plan anyway. There's no concrete plans right now, but because the course is still kind of under evolution right now.
Yeah.
So
Well, here's to hoping. then.
once it's
Here's to hoping.
fully in, and it's looking real good.
It was just such a great event, and I agree with you. It if it can, it should come back if at all possible.
Kudzu.
I would definitely be. We had a little group text going around a while back. It was going to take probably 10 of us
Sure.
to bring it back to life. Nobody could fully commit to it. We all want to help though, so it's going to take it'll definitely take a
Small army.
community to put that thing.
Yeah. Speaking of the community out there, how large are y'all now? I know that y'all were pretty big to begin with, but y'all
Yeah, I don't know
growing?
how closely you're
fantastic.
involved with the club in Birmingham.
Kind of. I mean, I'm like not an official. I'm not official at all. I'm not an officer. I did run for an officership, but I didn't make it in the votes. But I'm very close with all the officers, and they are always pinging me, about things because I'm involved in the community.
Sure.
So they're always hitting me, asking me what I think, and I love to be involved with it too.
We do the same to our community.
So I'm heading up the George Ford Adopt a Hole, and once we get it going at George Ford, then we'll probably move it to the other courses as well. But the first time this is the first time we've had multiple bag tags. We used to just have one DGB bag tag. So this year, there's going to be a Inverness bag tag, a George Ward bag tag, and a Trussville tag. So we're going to actually have 3 different league nights. And it's going to be interesting. And then the other kind of thing that I've been involved with, since we have the 3 different tags, we kind of became who's the best. And I've got the number 1 at George Ward, and I've got the 3 at this, and I've got the thing at this. So my friend Tony Sanders and we came up with the thing called the DGB Ballers. And we got the top 20 players that we just kind of handpicked in Birmingham. And it's not the best ever, because there's guys like Joe Thacker that are sitting at home right now that could kill us all if he decided to play golf.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the top 20 active players in Birmingham. They all have a separate tag. Not affiliated with DGB necessarily, but it is. But it's a private thing that we're doing as well. And part of the reasoning behind it was if we wanted to do a club-to-club matchup, like you bring your best 20, we'll bring our best 20, and we'll do a team tournament. So now we know who those people are. They're our top 20 tag holders.
That's awesome.
Not the George Ward tag holders, not the Civitan tag holders, but the DGB ballers.
Yeah, gotcha.
We got all that.
Now, is your three nights of league, or is that going to be a series rotating through the 3 different courses, or is it just you're going to have those different courses?
So it's getting so big that I think each course, kind of Nashville does, each course has its own little thing. So we've got our George Ward people, and some of them might go to the other ones, but they might not either. They might just play at George Ward. And that's, we're kind of following in y'all's footsteps in that regard, to where we're actually getting bigger and more people getting involved and starting to have like sub-communities within the community.
It's good.
Which I think is a good thing.
Sure. I mean, everybody wants, I can't tell you how many like small little groups of guys have their little sub things going on, but they're still involved with the club, or they're still a part of the membership base, and they do their own thing too.
Absolutely.
So like I know the guys at Ogwood do a tag out there every year.
Well, we did a set of tags one year. We haven't gotten an updated set.
Gotcha.
But there's been a lot going on in Ogwood in general with the neighbor and having to shut down for 2 different periods for 2 different reasons. But, the scenario in Nashville is really unique and really efficient, because you've got every course has a captain and they've got a crew. And so you've got the locals that hang out at that course most often, and they're the ones that are out there doing upkeep and maintenance. They go usually one day of the week, they'll go out there and work for a little while and then play golf.
Yeah.
And if there's any needs on the course that exist outside of general maintenance and upkeep, then that's where we come in, and they can let us know about that, and we can come alongside them with resources and manpower and stuff like that. And it works really well because we're all part of the family, and every time we have a bag tag event or something, everybody from every course shows up, and we end up with 150 to 200 people.
Yeah.
I think really if you're going to have a large group or a large organization that's membership based like that, and keep any kind of a close-knit kind of family feel to it, it's got to be kind of cell-based in some way, where it's like there's core groups that exist everywhere, and then, I think so everybody has like the same level of access, I think. I think it's important.
We definitely keep an eye on Nashville and as a community, just because, like I said earlier, you guys are kind of, as an evolution, you guys are a couple years ahead of us, so it's great to have you guys as mentors, and we get to watch you guys evolve, and then we kind of get to take those same steps. Because whenever I first got here, we were kind of a dysfunctional club, and there was like some infighting and things happening, but it's never been better than it has been this past couple of years. We've had a lot of great leadership, and just a lot of people that want to make it better, and we look to you guys for that kind of leadership and inspiration as well.
We've definitely had our ups and downs, and I appreciate that for being involved with the community as long as I have. I know Will does, but we've had those ups and downs for sure.
The Facebook calendar where you guys had the like the month in advance where all the events planned out. We stole that from y'all, and it's worked out great.
you?
Dude, no, man. I get messages from people all over the country, like, whether it was somebody that passed through town and played one of our events, or they know somebody here that's telling them how we're doing things, and I'll get messages and calls from people like, can you tell me how you guys do this or this part of it or that part of it? And I'm like, yes, please copy it. I mean, like, we've gone to the trouble of trying out the new strategies and testing out the old methods and all that stuff, and having stuff blow up in our face. And, we've figured out what in essentials to kind of strip away as we go forward and that kind of thing. But if we can save another, startup club or organization or something that trouble, then, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, one of the reasons why I decided to run for the PDGA board, it's like, we've got something really special here, something really, really unique, but there's no reason why it can't be that way everywhere. And every club, every area in the world is, in terms of disc golf, goes through that social media toxicity, that hostility. Everybody goes through that stuff to some extent. But and it was that way when I first got involved here in Nashville. It was nobody wanted to come to town to play disc golf in Nashville because 3,000 people could look at the Nashville Disc Golfers Facebook page and see everybody arguing with each other and calling each other names, and it just doesn't present a welcoming atmosphere. And that was the first thing that we really had to actively get ahead of and circumvent when we turned everything around.
I mean, there was a lot of disagreements and a lot of separation, and it takes the passionate people that hold it together. And what I've seen is typically the ones who are not necessarily, agree against everything, but maybe have issues with certain things. It seems like those are the ones who don't end up playing for very long anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's just why they're there for that moment. I know at least it's been a big part of it here.
Our current president, Richard Brown, when he was the vice president a couple, terms ago, I think Bobby George might have something to do with this too. But anyway, anybody that came up with an idea, they're like, we should do this. We should do this. And immediately he would just be like, okay, you're in charge of that. I expect you to head it up and tell me how you're going to do it and give me a report and let me know how it's going. So instead of just, we should do this, meaning y'all should do this,
They.
So you share it all the time. That thing is like, before you complain, have you volunteered yet?
Yeah, it's a good one.
I love that little.
No, the we thing happens a lot. You know what I mean? But they feel a part of it, and I guess it's kind of our obligation to kind of make them feel a part of it in a sense. So
It shifts the onus.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the big part. That's the biggest piece of the whole puzzle, man, and that's how you keep people unified and moving in the same direction. Is you have to make them feel like they're a part of it, and you have to give them a sense of ownership in it and a personal stake in it. It's necessary. I mean, and it becomes more vital the bigger the organization gets. We're up to 300, 350 members, and we have to actively implement things consistently to keep everybody feeling in touch and plugged in,
and we constantly rely on our members to help us out with that.
Yep.
So
well, love you guys.
I love you, dude.
Are you tired of talking to us now? Is that what's going on here?
No, I've got some company over here, and they're telling me how long-winded I am. So they assume that all your viewers are probably bored with me.
They're probably bored with us, and probably not with you.
Yeah.
I do have one more specific thing I wanted to gab about with you while we have you on the air, but I know we made you wait a little while we tried to bang our heads against the desk and punch the computer and make it work. But somebody that I hold in my mind as one of probably the most important figures and archetypes in disc golf and the history of disc golf is somebody that's right in your backyard, Tom Monroe. And I think there's a lot of people that are newer to the sport that have no idea who Tom Monroe is or what he did. But just quick recap, and I'm sure you can flesh this out better for me. But this guy back in the 70s, Steady Ed brought him into work at Whammo. He was one of the first touring professional disc golfers. Went around and played all the overall events and did demos and all that stuff. And him and Steady Ed put in hundreds and hundreds of disc golf courses, and there was a program where they were designing them remotely and sending the schematics off to the different parks departments and having them do the installs and stuff like that. And there are so many courses, especially in the Southeast, that we play regularly and love, that came about as a part of that movement. What is, I mean, outside of the general significance of his contribution, what are some things? What is it like to have him in your backyard? And I mean, it seems hard to not have a really awesome disc golf scene with somebody like that shows up at your doubles rounds.
Yeah, Tom is a staple in our community, and most people don't even know, the history and what he did do. And we try to change that. The younger generation, we try to tell the new ones, what he does mean to our community and what he did do in the past. Because there would be no, disc golf wouldn't be what it is in the South without Tom. He basically brought disc golf to the South. He's one of the godfathers of disc golf in the South, and inaugural Hall of Fame class, by the way.
Yep. What's his PDGA number? I know it's like 77 or something like that.
I didn't.
33. I knew it was a double digit. 33. I remember we had Levon on the podcast at one point, and he was telling us how he ended up with a much higher PDGA number because the first time Tom tried to talk him into it, he was like, whatever.
Yeah. With Tom, if Tom would have joined when he was first asked, he would have been top 10, but, he waited a couple weeks. Now he's 33.
Yeah, there you go.
And we that's another tournament we'll probably end up running here in the near future, is the Tournament of the Legends. We did one to honor him a while back, did a little throwback stamp. We gave out tank tops and high socks for player packs to call it back to the 70s a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, Tom, he's basically doing what I'm doing today, but he didn't have anybody to really look up to do it. So he was carving the path.
Yeah.
Had a van and selling discs and playing tournaments all before really disc golf had become a thing. So we're definitely lucky to have him. We take him for granted sometimes, and then we kind of sit back and go, wow, what we do realize what we got though. So, and one thing, I don't know if anybody caught the Invisible String, the documentary that they just released. Tom was in that for a brief minute. He was freestyling with the guy in the documentary. But that's another little project that's near and dear to my heart that I'd like to see happen, is a documentary about Tom and his contributions to the sport.
I would love to see that, dude. I'm a huge fan of Tom, and I've followed, I've read about everything that he did, and just super impressed with him. And he's one of those people that I look at as like a model or an influence, something to kind of try and model your contribution off of, because I mean, what he did was so huge. The level of what he gave to disc golf, and the things that now that we experience in disc golf that are directly a result of his involvement in it. It still blows my mind, and it blows my mind even more how many people have no idea who he is. And I can imagine. I mean, like, we've got greats here in town. Like, next week we're going to be talking to one of them, hopefully on the podcast, Steve Hardy. But we've had Ken Folger on the podcast here, and those guys. I mean, like, when we have a tournament and those guys show up, that's how I gauge like our success. If they're there, then we're doing something right.
There you go. I like it.
But when we do something wrong, they tell us too.
Yeah, they
have no problem telling us.
I don't agree with this.
Which, coming from them, you don't look at anything other than them trying to make you better.
Yeah.
So
yeah. We all need course corrections.
We all need a lot of corrections.
Little course maintenance. Well, Chris, I know you said you got company. I don't want to hold you up, but I
want to hold him up for one more second. And this is not a story or anything, but next time you're in town, tell Jeff to bring my hat. bring me a hat. He's promised me 3 times. So just you rag him about that for me.
All Jay wants in life is
an
Eat Sleep Disc hat and some
that I
classic
don't
hard
have to pay
wardens,
for.
or classic hard judges.
I'll buy some disc off of you for the hat.
We can make that happen.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
All right, buddy.
Till next. I loved it. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Dude,
on.
thanks for being
Always,
here.
always a pleasure to talk to you, man. We'll do it again anytime.
All right. Later, Nashville.
See you,
See you,
Chris.
bud.
Folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with a recap of the bag tag and current events coming up, and also the newest upgrade to White House Park
After these messages.
after these messages.
No hateful emails tonight.
Yep, we are back.
Where do we go?
I don't know where.
Into the ether.
We're here now, and that's what's important.
Did you enjoy the messages?
Yes, after these messages. Jay and I got off into a philosophical conversation during the break, but we're going to bring it on back to disc golf. So, first of all, thank you to Chris Pierce of Eat Sleep Disc for joining us tonight, taking time out of his busy schedule to be a part of our little show. He's been a good friend of mine for a long time now, of ours for a long time now. Been a part of a lot of our favorite moments in our history, and it's good to finally have him on the show. I'm sure we'll do that again
Absolutely.
at some point in the very near future. So, we had a bag tag yesterday.
What?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy, right?
I was so tired I forgot.
I am still sore, but yeah, you can see here, we've got our little tournament central there. I set up a slideshow, Jay.
What?
Yeah, I wish I could have hooked up the TV so you could see this, but
Oh.
I got our little tournament central there. We set up our tent and our table. We had tee times from 8 to 3:30. That was my card. I played with Joe Stevens and Sean Googe and Big Z, and we had a really good time. I had a rough time. I was like caging every one of my Circle 2 putts, which was really frustrating because I was right there. Like,
Yeah.
just about like I finished 7 up, and I feel like if I hadn't missed those caged putts,
That'll do it.
I would have
That'll-
been much better off. But you can see here, folks, Jay can't see, but you guys can see. This was my lie off my tee shot on hole 7 at Cedar Hill. There's like a grouping of trees that all come out of the same route, and my disc went right in between all of them. That's pretty impressive, if you ask
Yeah.
me. It's like wedged down there. You can't see it, but maybe you can if you look at the feed. I don't know. So we used UDisc for the first time for digital scoring, so that was really cool. We got enrolled in the UDisc Live beta, or UDisc Leagues beta, rather. Sorry, UDisc Leagues beta. And they approved our league, and now we can kind of use that for all of our unsanctioned stuff to do the same thing that the PDGA's live scoring function does. And it worked really, really well.
I like it. I think it's definitely a move forward. And the PDGA has been discussing it. I know they've talked to us and a lot of other tournament directors about running types of events and using their prototypes or using their things, their betas, and trying to get this to a digital platform where nobody's keeping an actual scorecard. So I think we're on the up and up and on the train early, Will.
Yeah, for sure. UDisc is definitely, that's a function that we're going to be using a lot this year with our socially distanced format. But you can see here a little visual example of the scoring data that we were able to collect. They offer a live leaderboard. The functionality is pretty much identical to UDisc Live that you're used to at any other big event. It works very, very similar to that, but it's totally free. And man, there were a couple hiccups. Like we said, it was a beta. We'll get into that here in a minute. But we also had a really cool side game that we kind of thought up that would be something that everybody could participate in with the tee time format where not everybody's there at the same time. So we came up with a long putt contest with 3 prizes. Stone, I don't know how much money he spent,
No.
but he spent a good long many hours throwing putts
Yes, he
at this
did.
basket. And he ended up putting his name on all 3
Did he really?
long putt flags. He won first, second, and third place. People were trying to get in there and hang with him too. I know Jeff Wilkins took a shot at it. A bunch of other of our newer members took a shot at it, and Stone just stayed there all day and kept putting more $5. Here's $5. Here's $5, and he'd go back. It was like scratch offs.
So thanks, Stone.
Yeah, Thanks, Stone.
We
Dude,
appreciate the support of the community.
the long putt contest was a great success.
Yeah, we
Thanks
hope
to
that you
Stone.
enjoy your prizes.
Yeah, and I got the picture up of him right here with all of his prizes. So yeah, Stony Baloney, congratulations on a nice day. You've got the scores up. We'll talk
I do
about
have the
that in a
scores,
second.
yeah.
I don't know how he played, but yeah,
Maybe
so-
that's why he did the putting contest.
right.
Who knows?
Yeah, so that was really cool. Hit us with some scores, Jay.
I'm gonna hit you with some deets. 150 people were signed up, I believe. I don't know if we had exactly 150 because we had some people drop. But man, for a hot day, 21 holes. Anthony Sinclair, the pro, shooting 11. Not too shabby. Followed up with Andrew Lamont, which I'm not familiar with that name, so I'm hoping that's a new guy in the system.
Pause.
Yes.
Push the pause button on that. So Andrew Lamont, I want to speak on Sir Andrew for just a moment. Andrew is a really cool dude. He moved here from Virginia,
Okay.
and he and I have been talking recently because he had an idea. They do something in Virginia. It's like it's a club challenge, where clubs in the region will get together at a tournament and they choose a team. Like each club has a captain that selects a team, and they play an event with a certain format. And he reached out to me asking about what I thought about the feasibility of doing something like that here with like Tennessee clubs. And I immediately started thinking of our friends that are in charge of the other clubs in Tennessee and stuff. And I was like, dude, I think everybody would love that. So he wants to do like a tester event, and he just created an event page for it. So we're looking tentatively at late July for it, but it's like, we do a team challenge at the Ambassador Cup every year.
Absolutely.
So this is kind of similar to that in that everybody will have a team, but it's definitely certain selections, like 1 pro player, 2 advanced players.
Sure.
Like there's a certain format to your team selection, and PDGA ratings will be checked. But it's like a combination of match play and some other stuff. He tried to explain the format to me, and I kept trying to explain to him that I wasn't understanding what he was saying, but I was trying to say it in like a really articulate and intelligent sounding way.
Okay.
And I think I pulled it off. But so Andrew, yes, I think it's an awesome idea and it's really cool. And just like I told Andrew, we got a lot of people, especially AMs in the club, that don't ever get to play any kind of team format stuff. There's some people out there that have never played Wolf before. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that have never played Wolf before. So
There's some people who don't like to play Wolf.
yeah, there's a lot of people that don't like to play Wolf. Wolf is one of those things that where it's not for every day. It's not
It's an
something.
acquired taste.
Well, it's not even that. It's like sometimes circumstances just don't allow for it.
Yeah.
But so Andrew Lamont, that's who he is. Sorry,
Well-
unpause. Everybody,
unpausing.
meet Andrew Lamont. Go say hi to him. Make friends with him.
Well, third place in the Open went to Mr. Mike McDaniel.
Congratulations, Mike. Golf
Moving
snaps.
down to the women. And Jess, I'm so bad with her last name.
Kukler.
She took the win down.
Yes,
took
she
it down.
did.
And she was running behind on her tee time, and she was stressing, and I was rushing her, and I felt so bad because I love her to death. But I was like, oh, I need you to sign in.
Yeah.
And finally, so she didn't get any warm up before she teed off, and so shout out to you, girl. Good
Yep.
shooting. Followed real close by Katie Holbrook at 85 in second place. Elise rounds out the 3. And going to advance, Michael Holland first, 2-way tie. So second and third, I guess you'd call it, Jesse Key and Greg Johnson. Intermediate, David Millette. Bro, you, Eric. Now, Eric, I know you said you shot your best round ever. I don't know you, David, as well. And so, but if that's how you're shooting out at Cedar Hill on 21, you need to come on up, bud.
Yeah, move it up. Hashtag move up.
Noodle Arm Man, I don't know who that is, but that's pretty sweet. But anyway, Eric Heineken was tied for first with him, and then Stephen Barry at third in intermediate. Novice, Parker Anderson takes down the victory, followed by Sean Hibbs and Cody Winfrey. Amateur Masters, our boy Robert Zavala takes down the win.
Dude, I played with him, and it was crazy to watch. I mean, that dude putts so good from anywhere.
I didn't know that. I don't know if I've ever got to play around with Robert yet.
Dude, he's a beast.
I don't know if
Good
I want.
dude.
I don't know if I want to. No.
Shout out to Big Z. Love you, buddy.
Sean Googe
Played with him too.
Shannon Napier rounds out the 3.
Dude, Sean and Z, it was like, it was, man. Sean has this sidearm. I mean, like, dude, it's his drives. he laces gaps. That's what he does.
That's what he does.
And he just works his way right down the fairway in the right direction every time. So focused. Fun to watch. Fun to play with, too. All good dudes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wonderful
More scores?
analysis. Yes, sir. Yes, Jeffrey.
Just trying to keep it lively and entertaining, man.
No, I like it. I like your style. I'll give you the players. You give me the analysis of how it went
Color
down.
commentary.
That's right. Pro Masters. Surprise, surprise. 50. Danny Lane. Look at him.
Lane!
2-time. Love him. Mark Peterson. Oh, I spoke too soon. Mark Peterson
AB's
tied
watching.
him. AB's watching. A-bomb.
What up, AB?
Ties him up. First place, baby.
Yup.
69s. And then Lonnie Nelson at 70. I bet that was a fun card to
Lonald.
watch and play. Pro Master 40 plus. Rodney Gold.
Our boy Blue.
59. Real close behind the seals. Lance Kirby 62 and Farm Fresh 64. It's funny, these guys play together all the time and they're always at the top.
Yeah, the leaderboard is very similar.
Absolutely. Yeah. All the time.
Yeah.
That was a big field, 20 plus on that one. Intermediate women, Sarah Hoyle taking down the win, and shout out to her for bringing a newcomer. Her sister's now involved with the club and playing.
I met her at Cane
That's
Ridge.
pretty sweet.
Yeah,
I met her
E2.
at Cedar Hill, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Julie's been coming out and just as awesome as Sarah.
So well, she took the course for her first bag tag battle this year, and walked away with third. So into some pretty good competition. Casey Jenkins at first and Brenda Buckman in second.
Nice.
So that's your bag tag scores. Now let's talk about how hot it was.
It was very, very
It
hot.
was ridiculous.
It was a steamer.
It was humid.
I think
But-
my disc was on the ground for about 30 seconds at one point, and as soon as I picked it up, it was like it came out of a creek.
But for all the bad, hot, humid weather, everybody was in good spirits. It was so awesome to finally get to go back out and play some competitive.
I think
golf like
everybody
that.
was itching for it, man.
Dude,
Everybody
I was.
ready.
I know I was super stoked. I looked at Coop. I was like, I don't care how I shoot, as long as I beat Hoy.
Yep.
So my mission got accomplished.
Yeah, it was dope.
Love you, Zach.
I want to say real quick, too, shout out to Dr. Hoy, who is working tonight. But he busted his buns at the bag tag yesterday. Shout out to all of our board members. All of our awesome board members really
He's
showed
looking
up.
at you, kid.
Here's looking at. Were you pointing at me or?
I was pointing at you.
Oh, I was pointing. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
We've got to give, because
Yeah.
we're here.
Good job, Jay. Good job.
You too.
Yeah. So us, Katie, Big Z, Dr. Hoy, Danielle, and Coop. We all we teamed up. We knocked it out of the park. We were using a lot of new stuff, a lot of new format changes. I mean, the first time for bag tag tee times, outside of the championship, of course.
Sure.
But UDisc scoring, we'll get into that real quick to say that it is in beta. It's in beta testing right now. They just recently rolled out a bunch of new stuff like Google or UDisc Teams, where you can go in and actually, play team format golf, alternative kind of
that's cool.
formats within the software without having to get all creative and set
That's pretty
different,
neat.
set your scorecards up different ways. You can actually, and it's really good timing because if you're running a random draw doubles event, you can actually use it to put in all the people, and there's a randomizer that will assign partners.
Look at them go.
Yep, and that's officially launched, so everybody has access to that. If you're a current PDGA member, you have a free UDisc Pro account. But even if you don't have a UDisc Pro account, you can utilize the UDisc live scoring at our events. So be prepared for the rest of the Bag Tag Series events this year. We are going to be utilizing UDisc digital scoring the same way we did yesterday.
Absolutely.
So you need to have a UDisc account. You don't have to pay for it if you don't feel like paying for the UDisc Pro, or you don't feel like paying for a premium or a PDGA membership that will get you the UDisc Pro for free. Then all you got to do is just download the app and sign in with an email address and a password, and you'll get access to certain functionality of the UDisc software.
Yes, and it will. The way it worked on the beta the other day is it prompted you to pay. You just had to go through it and then exit out, and then it took you to the free thing. So don't think that it's going to pop up. It says pay $4.99, pay $4.99. You just go past that.
Yeah.
But if you do not have access to the internet via phone, via home, let us know. We'll get you. We could make it happen. if you just have no possible way, because Steve Hardy, took his flip phone out, and I was like, well, we're gonna have to do something.
Yeah, it bears mentioning that there's a premium. Whoa. There's a premium to our bag tags because you have to be a member of the club to participate in the series. But we've always been committed to never turning a member of the club away from one.
Very true.
So now we're a little bit more limited in our freewheel and wiggle room kind of stuff because of having to do tea times and all this other stuff. So that being said, yes, everything is. I mean, if you can, you should learn how to use some of this stuff because it is. I mean, it's going to be really hard to participate in disc golf without it anywhere.
Yeah,
but. For members of our club, people that have supported us, we will always do whatever we can to make sure that you're a part of it. And,
absolutely.
So send us messages, email us, mcdgclub@gmail.com. We'll always make sure that you can get signed up for something that you want to play, bag tag concerned. But anyway, the UDisc scoring, there was a couple hiccups right off the bat. I think we had sent maybe 5 or 6 cards out first thing in the morning. And I went to look at the leaderboard. So if you're listening to this, the way it works is you open up the app. At the bottom, you've got different icons. One is a calendar icon that's for events. So you go into the events section, and MCDG Bag Tag Series, for example, is listed at the top. You hit it. You have a check-in button. Once everybody on your card has checked in and you're all standing at the T-pad, whoever's going to be your first designated scorekeeper can create the scorecard and choose the order and add the from the list of players that are checked in, add the 4 of you to, or however many of you to the scorecard. And then anybody can use it. You can log out, log in. You can pass duties off to other people just like you normally would. That's how it works. And that's the way we're going to be rocking it from here on out. So, and we're probably going to start using it for WNT also.
You got no argument for me. I thought it was super awesome.
And you're going to be using some form of this. I mean, even at our sanctioned events, Seven Oaks Summer Solstice is coming up. That is going to be tee times only also, but we're going to be using the live scoring through the PDGA.
Yeah. So. And as a player, myself, being out there and being like, if you shot like I did, you weren't worried about where you're sitting. But if you are shooting well that day and you don't know if you need to run a putt or not, I mean, that app is actually kind of useful to see a leaderboard. Like, some people don't like looking at it, but it can help you too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it can definitely, at least give you the opportunity to make the right choice or the right decision somewhere. But like you were saying, the glitch minus that little bit.
Well, I went to look into the leaderboard, and it was only pulling data for one player in intermediate. And that was the only thing that was showing up on the leaderboard. So Dr. Hoy sent an email off to UDisc, and it was within 10 minutes. We looked at it, the leaderboard was fixed, and we had an email back from them. That's how awesome they are about communicating with it.
Yeah,
and when they approved us to use it, they said, you have any questions, have any problems, get a hold of us, let us know. We'll figure it out. So big ups to the guys at UDiscs.
Yeah, just as a club, let us know what you guys thought. Let us know what you thought about it and see if did you like it, did you didn't like it. No right or wrong answer, but it's good to have feedback.
Yep.
So
Jeff Desch asks, looking to play some bag tag, is it too late to sign up? No, sir.
Never.
You can go to musiccitydiscgolf.com, enter the menu, go to 2020 MCDG membership form. Fill that out and make arrangements to pay your annual dues of $20, whether that's through PayPal or in person at the WNT or another event. And we'll get you taken care of, get you a tag, get you out there playing.
You said that like you've said it before.
No. Just flew off the top of my head. I don't know where it came from.
It's a good thing. That just means we're growing even bigger.
Also, I mentioned Dr. Hoy, but I want to shout out to Marcus Rogers, our homie, our host. We are here in the Sapphire Lounge, and you do not see Marcus.
Nobody's here.
Yeah, it was really weird coming over here. But Marcus had work. He was out of town playing Tennessee States over this past weekend, and he came back and got right back to work. He got a painting job. And
you're gonna need to go to the grocery store too, bro.
Yeah,
I cleared it out.
The house is not burned down, but we want to say thanks to Marcus for letting us. Letting
come
us
over
into
here
the house so
unattended.
so we can still use all this stuff.
There's some big shout outs that are about to go out. I have a feeling you got some other big.
Yeah,
big
well,
shout-outs
I was
to
just
do.
going to say, in terms of Tennessee States and Marcus, I got this picture I'm going to throw up real quick here because we had a bunch of people from the Nashville area that went down to play Tennessee States, and Marcus managed to link up with just about all of them.
Well, yeah.
Jay, I'm looking in this picture here. I'm seeing Sean Dougherty. I'm seeing Russell Hammond, Logan Bowers, Therese Sieber, Marcus, Drake Abernathy's up in there.
What?
Looks like Ladarius.
Who's that person?
I see Swiss like hiding under a table.
Swiss.
Yep, Miami
Wow.
is ducking under the corner of the table.
Look at you guys making Nashville proud and doing this real strong.
Yep. So Marcus, and you guys, if you're watching the post-production right about at this point, I'm going to insert some videos that Marcus sent me over the weekend. Just video that he took of people that he was around while they were driving over on the courses at Tennessee State's.
Marcus Rogers here, finishing up with Zach Melton, Tennessee States, Music City Disc Golf. Thanks, bro.
No problem.
Who did media for this? Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh.
I have no clue. I don't even know if you could put that in your Googleizer.
Not sure either. Doesn't have anything. Well,
The spoon says flip phones not allowed. It's very. I mean, like, dude, I applaud you for still having a flip phone if you do. Unfortunately, if you're trying to stay up to date on disc golf happenings and you don't have a smartphone, then you're going to be one of those guys that's showing up going, man, I didn't even know it was tee times, or man, I didn't even know you had to sign up online for this. And it's like, well, I mean,
how'd you know what was going on today?
yeah, 150 other people knew exactly what was going on.
Oh, well,
Well, I'm just saying.
I know.
I'm not saying anything bad about these folks because, dude, if I could live
gosh.
off the grid, I would do that in a heartbeat. But I like disc golf.
I would like to
I
pretend
kind of,
that
I mean, for
could.
me, I have to make the disc golf happen.
I'm sure that I
but-
could.
Yeah, but like for I mean, if playing the disc golf events and stuff, I mean, like it's totally up to you. You have the freedom of choice, but it's a good idea to go ahead and get the apps. I mean, even if you're not using a smartphone, get a tablet you can keep at the house. So every once in a while in the evening, you can get on your tablet, open up Facebook, and check for new flyers and stuff like that. Or just look at Disc Golf Scene. If you don't want to mess with Facebook, all of our stuff is up on Disc Golf Scene. All the registration pages are already built.
And now back to the Tennessee State Champions.
Back to the
Wow,
Tennessee
wow,
State
wow,
champ.
wow.
Ah, rah, rah, rah. Yes, Jeff, you're welcome. Chris, yes. it was
Tennessee
awesome.
State.
Hi, Shantae.
Thanks, HB, for throwing it, as
Yep.
you do a good job at this event every year. Chris Dickerson, surprise, surprise, 4 times in a row now. Kid's unstoppable. Won it by
Unstoppable.
10 over Joey Lutz. Man, I tell you what, Joey and Chris have been battling for many, many years. Our boy, Logan Bowers, comes at a solid 6th place.
Yes,
35
sir.
down. That's good shooting. And this was a stiff field this year. Johnny McRae was there. Chris Orrick, I believe he's out of Knoxville. He's always a contender for this. Harper, finishing 14th.
Yeah, dude.
That's great
I saw a
shooting.
bunch of pictures and video of Harper, and he was killing it.
That's awesome. It's great to see him out there still crushing all of us old fellers. Look forward to him showing us big things later on in life.
Yep.
And Open Women, Heather Young taking it down.
Yeah, dude. And again, Nice to see her not taking any, not having any rust to knock off coming back from the quarantine. I think I did see her post, and she said that her first round did not go. That she had like a kind of a rough start in her first round.
I think I saw her post too.
Like she might have fallen behind a few strokes or something in the first round, but she said she came back strong, and she had her best ever round at Panther Creek. I forget what the score was. I think it was 76.
Any type of best round at Panther Creek for most people is going to be a really nice round.
Yeah.
Panther Creek is no joke. It's a technical one and it's tough.
Yeah.
But it's good to see Heather out there, as young as she is, getting the wins now in some bigger tournaments, and really going up. She got some notoriety too. Didn't she win the putting contest with the women?
Yeah.
The Dynamic Disc did?
Yeah. Yeah, and man, talk about some names out there. I mean, Johnny McRae was out there. Mm-hmm. I think Emerson Keith played.
Did he?
Yeah,
I didn't see him.
Well, I thought I saw him in some
I saw
pictures,
Melton's
and I thought
name.
I saw his name on a list.
Love you, Zach. He's probably not happy with himself, but he was there.
Yeah, and we were just talking about Zach earlier on the show. He was our first guest ever on the MCDG podcast. Was Zach Melton. So I mean, that's a little bit of
trivia.
We're pulling a Smashbox. Terry just had the same thing happen. They had Steve Dodge on, and it was their first guest that they ever had on Smashbox with Steve Dodge.
I didn't know that.
And he made a point to draw, like, at some point we might ask a trivia giveaway or something like that. So at some point we might ask you who the first guest ever on the MCDG podcast was, and maybe give you something. But
video killed the radio.
Shantae, I think she might have had a typo, but she said at my best ever at Cherokee. So she had a good round at Cherokee, I hope.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. So Tennessee State's, as you mentioned, HB. And I want to say this too. I will take every opportunity I can to give applause to HB. The man is a giant in disc golf, and he has really knocked it out of the park with this one. I mean, after 2 months of being off, because we know exactly how it feels. We just had our first bag tag back yesterday, 150 people. But this was, an A tier, and he barely. We got in with sanctioning. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was about to have to run it unsanctioned, like basically be forced to run it unsanctioned. It was at the point where he couldn't really call it off. You know what I mean? And especially with the whole city and all the governing powers saying, do it.
When you talk, Morristown's kind of a little special place in itself because they support disc golf so much. They literally are. They're kind of like, not as to the level as Emporia, where but it's a little bit bigger, I think, probably. Yeah. But Morristown really backs that community and the disc golf scene there, and so it's hard to pull out when that's a big part of their revenue because so many people go to Tennessee States.
Yeah, Morristown has trademarked disc golf capital of Tennessee. Mm-hmm. They do. They're definitely committed to it. Also. What I wanted to mention, too, about HB and Morristown, there's a senator there that apparently a couple disc golfers from Nashville, I don't know who they were staying with him. They were going to stay with him for Tennessee States. And so the way we were able to get our sanctioning back in time for Tennessee States was that senator, I guess, pulled some strings to get the governor's office to actually specify something about disc golf in an executive order, so that we had something concrete that we could show to the PDGA to say that, we could open back up.
Whoa!
So we owe a debt to HB. Everybody in Tennessee, everybody that likes disc golf in Tennessee owes a debt to HB Clark for that.
That's awesome.
And we all owe a debt to HB. That guy's been out there contributing to disc golf for 30 plus years.
What did he say? I can't remember how many courses he said he designed, but
96.
96. That's a lot.
It's a lot of courses. Mm. And I mean, he's been around since the beginning.
Speaking of courses, I heard one got a facelift.
Yes, sir. So to catch everybody up that may not be in the know, Dynamic Disc, as a part of their club sponsorship, makes a donation to us, usually in credit towards merchandise at wholesale pricing, every year for the bag tag series and stuff. So every year, it's basically a relationship of they're going to donate this much, and we're, we're expected to somewhat spend another amount of money throughout the course of the year. Oh, Jay's cramping. He's got a cramp in his hammy.
No, the back.
I
feel like these new chairs are not as good as the old ones.
So they've always taken really good care of us with their donations, and every year we end up spending way more than we're expected to. Yes, Shantae, I do remember talking to HB about him printing those out, but they don't. I don't think that the PDGA is requiring them to be like physically signed and turned in. Those are waivers that we had to put in on the registration pages for all of our stuff, and yes, they are requiring a waiver. So that's a good thing to mention. You know, if you're signing up for PDGA events this year, you're going to have to sign a waiver saying that you won't sue the PDGA if you happen to
if you get the COVID,
get the coronavirus.
I'll have a Corona, please.
What were we just talking about before I broke under that table?
I don't know why you broke it. We were talking about HB.
HB, yeah. So, yeah.
So he doesn't know what you're talking about. HB down on courses. I literally was.
Tennessee States.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. My back was. I was stretching my back out. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, I got all distracted by your acrobatics. But anyway,
Ask somebody on Facebook.
Oh, I know. No, they're good. HB helped us out a lot with that. So yeah, that's why we're able to be having sanctioned stuff right now. And speaking of which, we've got the summer solstice coming up. I threw that picture up just a minute ago, but there's a flyer once again. Registration is live at Disc Golf Scene. I don't even know how many people we got signed up, how much room there is, but it's coming up on June 20th. This weekend, you guys, June 13th, Saturday, June 13th, and Sunday, June 14th, we're going to do a little work on our courses. We're going to get our hands dirty. So from about 8 in the morning till about noon, we're going to clear up Shelby on Saturday. We're going to go to Naval Hill on Saturday morning at 8. We need weed eating, mowing. I'm going to try and holler at Johnny Powell or somebody that might have a mower that we can figure out a way to haul out there. There's 3 holes that it'd be easy work with a mower, 6, 8, and 9, and then just weed eating, touching up the place, making it look pretty, throwing trash away. And then Sean Googe and I've got a tool. We're going to start clearing out some of the old sleeves that might be clogged up and trying to figure out how to best move around some pins because we got a bag tag coming up on July 5th at Naval Hill. But yes, so this weekend, you guys, be looking to get a little tree karma. Come out to the work parties at Naval Hill, and then Sunday is going to be at Cane Ridge. So on Sunday, we'll still need weed eaters, but we'll also need saws at Cane Ridge because there's a lot of stuff that has fallen down into the fairway that we need to clear out.
Yeah.
So basic general maintenance type stuff that we're going to be doing, but we're not going to work for all day. We're going to try and hit it real hard in the morning, get as much done as we can just to get the courses looking real nice for our upcoming events. Sure. And then everybody can go play golf because John Williams, Dr. John, is doing some special stuff with Seven Oaks Dubs Saturday afternoon.
Awesome.
And we're bringing back Cane Ridge Doubles Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. So we want to finish up in time for everybody to get lunch and go play some golf.
Sounds awesome, brother.
Boom.
Hope to see you out there.
Yep. We also just got in the Seven Oaks Summer Solstice fundraiser discs. You guys can check those out here. These are the Players Pack discs are all sorts of stuff. We've got some guards, some judges. We've got Warships, Mavericks, but the fundraiser discs, we've got Chameleon Raiders and Fusion X Trespasses. So we've got 2 different stamps. One was submitted by a fan, and that's going to go on the Players Pack disc, but we did get some really cool fundraisers as well. So we had those out for the first time at the bag tag yesterday, but we still have some in stock. If you'd like to pick one up, they're $20. Holla at us. We got some other stuff, hats, sunglasses, and stuff that's also for sale. And this coming Sunday, this just in, Shantae just wanted me to know, Shantae Cox says they have the Disc Maidens monthly at Baby Cane on Saturday as well. And yes, White House. So part of the donation for, we've spent, that was what I was talking about. We've spent more and more money every year. So Dynamic Disc donated us a brand new set of red, white, and blue veterans to be used at Mill Ridge for the NT at Music City Open. And we had the baskets shipped out early so that we could have them on hand with portable bases to use for the test events and stuff, but everything got put on hold. So the idea was after MCO, we would see what they would say about us putting the course in permanently. And if we could, that's where the baskets would go. But if not, Lance Kirby had this really cool idea about setting up a kids course at White House. And what he wanted to do was get a set of new baskets that you could see easier than the green baskets that were out there, and get those in place in the regular positions, and then use the T1s, vinyl wrap them a more visible color, put them in shorter positions for a kids course layout. So we had always said from the beginning, we talked about it as a board, if we weren't able to put the baskets in the ground at Mill Ridge, that we were going to give them to White House. And this past Saturday, we were able to do that. I got together with Lance and Jody Franklin early in the morning, and we loaded up all the baskets on a trailer out at Mill Ridge. We got them all on the road to White House, and they are in the ground. And almost a third of the kids' course is already in the ground as well.
Really?
Yep. And I think everything is going to be finished in time for Independence Dubs. So Independence Dubs at White House with red, white, and blue veteran baskets. How do you like that? It
seems fitting.
They look so good out there too, man. And
You can see them. That was a cool.
Yeah,
I really like that.
That's a big plus for sure, being able to see what you're throwing at.
All right, you ready? 106 spots left for the solstice. So,
plenty of room for the solstice. You guys, registration is live on Disc Golf Scene. Go get signed up. We're going to do one round of 21 holes, and it's going to be awesome. And we got some really cool Players Pack discs and fundraisers. And let me see, what else were we going to talk about?
I don't know. We're going to talk about going home.
Talking about going home.
Yeah, I'm tired.
All right, man. I think that was it. So, yeah, guys, we have 3 events with registration currently open for them on Disc Golf Scene. The Seven Oaks Summer Solstice on June 20th. Boom, there's the flyer. Get signed up. It's going to be awesome. We also have Independence Dubs. Registration is live for that at White House on July 4th. The very next day, E6 at Naval Hill. Registration for that is also live.
Yeah.
So get in where you fit in, or forever hold your peace.
Yep.
And Jay, as always, it's been a pleasure.
Love you guys. Love you guys in Nashville.
Yep. Thank you to everybody
Have
that
a wonderful
tuned in.
eve.
Thank you to Marcus for letting us use the crib. I think the Wi-Fi was kind of in and out. We might be dropping some frames, but the post-produced video will look primo.
Fantabulous.
Yep.
Thanks for listening, guys. Like, share, subscribe, whatever,
Rate
whatever
and
we
review.
do. Yeah,
dude,
rate and
give
review.
us a subscribe wherever you're watching, whether it's on a podcast app or on YouTube or whatever. Give us a subscribe. It helps out. And on that note,
Good
we'll
night.
say peace.
Peace.
Oh, next week, Steve Hardy. Tune in.
Let the bass kick.